All right, we're here with Myron Dewey from Digital Smoke Signals, and he's been up on Standing Rock and been intimately involved there. Want to talk a little bit about that and what you're doing overall. First of all, tell me about what you've been up to at Standing Rock in particular.
Really right now here at Sister Giant, really sharing the message about the indigenous issues that are happening at Standing Rock, which is the violation of sovereignty is what we're witnessing, but also an international company that has domestic ties over sacred sites. An eminent domain is really another violation, but that is also broken treaty right there, broken treaty land. So my goal here was to educate everyone about the indigenous people. We know everything about non-natives. And out of the thousands of people that were coming to Standing Rock, they knew nothing about indigenous issues, indigenous people. They didn't know the protocols throughout this country. It was crazy. The thousands of people, I'd ask them, well, which state do you live in? Which tribe is around you? What are the issues there? Why are you seeing tribes fight for water? Everyone's water, not just your water. But what we know now is that the Trump administration is going to jeopardize that sovereignty and try to encroach it. 65+% is natural resources on reservation land. And if they're going to try to privatize that land, then we got a larger fight. But we've been seeing colonization and encroachment for a long time. In our traditional harvesting areas, if you're a basket maker in the tribe, that's one area. If you use that water for ceremony, that's what we're seeing right now. And it's not just an indigenous issue here, it's a human issue when it comes to that element in water's life.
Yeah. So the rights of Native Americans in this country have been trampled upon for a very long time. I don't know if you have a sense, Byron, of why Standing Rock became such a focal point. Like, what about that do you think sparked this larger fight back?
Well, when I first went to Standing Rock, I knew I had to go there. I just got off a Peace and Dignity run that was a prayer run. It was a prophecy of the North and the South. Also, if you've been following Standing Rock, you know there's a prophecy of the Black Snake there. Many of these prophecies are coming to be on what's happening in Indian country. What happened is this is no longer the 18th century, early 19th century. Who controls the media controls the culture, and we've been controlling our own media, telling our own story through indigenous eyes. And when I got there, we've also been in the digital divide, which Standing Rock right there is a digital divide. If you've been there, probably Jordan can attest to you when you open up your phone and get on a live feed, you get cut off right away or you can't get text. But we've also witnessed the violation of FCC, FAA. So the technical encroachment is very high there. Stingray technology, I thought that was all a myth until my phone was getting hacked, and then hundreds of people's phones are getting data extracted. And we continue to document this issue, but we also know where the dead spots are, where you can go get online, which is 10 miles away. And that's how we've been getting out the message. Going there, filming live, getting what we can, and get out and share it with the world, and as live as possibly raw as possible.
Well, tell us about Digital Smoke Signals in that regard.
So Digital Smoke Signals is a Native-owned company. I'm the founder of Digital Smoke Signals. My background is technology, wireless communications. And I just focused on indigenizing media for indigenous people, indigenizing technology. We've been in a digital divide. We're still in a digital divide. Articulating the encroachment with FAA, which they could not prove that they had tribal airspace over indigenous lands, and just educating people, like, honor the forefathers' promises to the indigenous people. We would not be in this issue. As we're seeing currently, what I just heard on the panel, the women on panel, was immigration. If we could honor those promises, we would not have seen an international company have eminent domain over domestic resources coming through sacred sites and desecrating, and we would not see those things happening.
Now you got me curious, because I have to confess I didn't know it. What is the prophecy of the Black Snake?
Well, the prophecy of the Black Snake is what we're seeing there. It was collected by the tribe predating anything that we're seeing here. And these prophecies they're coming forward, as well as the seventh generation that would be able to stop that Black Snake, which is we are the seventh generation, you are the seventh generation, your voice is the seventh generation. Everything that we're witnessing here is a collectiveness that would come in from all four directions, all four colors, and that's what we're seeing of indigenous people there. So it's, like I say, it's not just an indigenous issue. If you're on this side of the wire, you're going to get shot, and that's what we're witnessing. Now here's an analogy. Somebody said that might not even be the Black Snake. That might only be the tip of the Black Snake. because the rest of it is still going down to Mexico. You know, so
Yeah. Well, if there was a prophecy of a black snake, and then they build an oil pipeline that snakes through the land, that carries black oil, well, okay, okay, that's something. So now you were arrested there, right, Myron?
Yes.
So tell us about that. What happened?
So I was arrested documenting a stalker that was stalking our water protectors coming into camp. I've been pretty relentless in going right up to the mercenaries, right up to Morton County National Guard, and asking them questions that we have the right to. Why are you here? Why are you pulling people over? But this guy was doing it every day. And so he'd park right above the hill knowing who he was. I sent out my drone. We documented him live. That was the first real, I guess, close encounter with the drone. We were able to document who he was. And it was really something different because that drone kept a lot of people from being arrested. And I got it certified. I followed all the North Dakota rules, FAA rules. And when the drone was stolen without a warrant, which I was told there was a warrant, I was Facebook streaming live. But not in just because I had to, it's because it was a must, because I was really in fear of my life. 60 miles from the camp, we're way out there and in the middle of nowhere, and all of a sudden there's about 17 police cars that come around you that block off every entrance, and the cops that are around you have no badge names on them and no identification, and would not give you their name but deputy, and violate all the laws in between. And from what I'm told, they have the right to lie to you. Well, they've been lying all the time. FBI was there, lied to me. And I just told him, why didn't you tell me you were FBI? And he goes, Myron, I got a family. I was just calling him out. This is what we've seen over and over, and it's been on. I've had to go live, so it's the integrity of not just how I'm hearing this. I had to get their integrity on the spot, Morton County's integrity on the spot, the human rights violations, the medics being shot in the back, the Geneva Convention violation, over and over and over. And what I'm asking the world and this country is to hold them accountable. Hold them accountable. But what I shared with everyone in there is we need to hold accountable the forefathers' promises to the indigenous people, or we wouldn't be having this issue.
So, but how did you get arrested?
I got arrested I did not let them arrest me. Now, they tried to arrest me in Bismarck, and I went in the same time. Amy Goodman was there. And I went through, and we had to actually throw me in several different cars. They were trying to arrest me before I could turn myself in. And I walked in before they could turn myself in, or before they could arrest me. And I walked in the back door with the lawyers and the attorneys, which we had to, again, switch cars to get there. And I walked in, and I live streamed it all as I went in and went through the whole process. And that's how it was. I came out with stalking. What I started to witness was a violation of the due process there with water protectors. And I'm worried now that when I get there, and my court case keeps getting pushed forward and forward and forward. Now it's out in March. So we're continuing now to see violations happening. No video documentation, which is all documented. If they don't allow that, they try to fight on having out-of-state representation, not in-state. They're making water protectors pay for their public attorneys because they're saying that all the money, the donations the world has been supporting Standing Rock, they have enough money to support the water protectors' legal funds. So it just continues to add up and stack up.
Are you saying they're charging you with stalking?
Yes, that's my charge, is stalking.
So now we know what reporting is going to be called in the Trump era. It's going to be called stalking. Isn't that amazing? I mean, that's how you make freedom of the press go away. That's how you make media illegal. You just call it stalking.
Well, I feel pretty, I don't know, the mercenary said he was in fear of his life. So that drone is powerful. We do smudge it off too, so with medicine.
So they're used to having older drones. So when you have a drone as well, they're like, wait, we're used to having uneven power over you, and they don't like that. So one last thing, Myron, now we are in the era of Trump. He says he's going to steamroll that project going forward, and he's going to make it happen. And you see already talk of the easement being lifted, etc. So how do you fight back against that, and how do you think this ends?
We fight back by educating and empower everybody as yourself with that voice, powerful voice, and fact check everything to make sure that you're articulating it correctly. We got a lot of educating to do, America, because not everyone knows about the indigenous issues. Like I tell everyone, we know everything about non-natives and our relatives around the world, and they know nothing about us, and they travel to New York, every state across the country, and they don't know. They don't know that rights were trampled on, promises weren't kept, all that way is what we're seeing. So educate yourself about the indigenous people, educate yourself on what does that mean in honoring our forefathers' promises to the indigenous people. And when you do that, there won't be that guilt. First, it comes anger. Let's turn into intellectual anger and educate ourselves. Our table at home is the most important because you're not taught this at school at all, because the American dream that we were watching yesterday has been the American Holocaust for indigenous people. And that's what we've continued to see, is not just historical trauma, as we've seen loss of land, loss of language. We're seeing current trauma now happening in Standing Rock with the desecration of sacred sites. But as an American, that's 18 million people's drinking water going down. Water is life, and without water, you're going to have to understand, deprive yourself of water for 30 days, and you'll know that water is life.
You know, I got to be honest with you. I didn't even know about so much of it until Standing Rock began. And that's why things like Standing Rock are so important, because we all get educated, and then I shared it with the audience. I didn't know the Sioux Nation had all that unceded land, and that the U.S. government had recognized that they had violated the treaty and tried to pay off Sioux Nation. I didn't know the Sioux Nation, appropriate this Sitting Bull and Standing Rock, stood still and said no. Right now they have $3 billion waiting for them in the U.S. Treasury, and Sioux Nation will not take it because they say that is unceded land, that is our land by treaty, and we're not giving it to you. So that is the things that you learn if you learn history, and that's what you guys are shining a light on. But I found, as we were talking, I found a way that you can connect with Donald Trump and maybe get his sympathy and get him on your side.
We're dying from his sympathy. I mean, that's not working, right? We need to have him be educated and empower him, because we don't want your pity. We need to pity them.
Yeah.
Because if we're dying from that, and that's not okay anymore. And it's the time of sorry is over.
Yeah.
This is now a global issue.
Well, I think the way that you can get Trump on your side is if you explain that everyone but you is undocumented immigrants.
That's what yeah. You know, so we never seen borders with our indigenous people from Mexico. It doesn't make sense to us, those borders, because our medicines cross. But you know, this is a human issue that we're seeing, right? Because the natural law lets the birds go across, the animals and the fish. Once we violate that natural law, is what we're seeing the Dakota Access Pipeline do, is violate that natural law. That's when we're going to have this global issue, and we're seeing it right now happen with the destruction of our Mother Earth, with the destruction of our mineral rights, the encroachment of tribal sovereignty, but also as an individual human being, your inherent right to have clean drinking water and clean air.
Yep. Everybody check out Digital Smoke Signals, Fighting the Good Fight, there throughout in Standing Rock. Appreciate it for
Thank you, bro.
joining us.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.